Okay, give me a second. Let me try and break it down for you. MAGA is the most extreme political organization in American history. That's a quote from Joe Biden. The Weather Underground was a thing. What? They blew stuff up and killed people. Okay. Biden warned that after Roe v. Wade was struck down, conservatives might try to ban LGBTQ kids from classrooms. Where did that come from?
It's like made it up.
Just literally made that up. That's not a thing. That's not happening anywhere. But you see, this is what happened. Recently, Joe Biden was asked about Title 42. And his response was, well, the scientists have got to review it, and then we'll appeal to the courts. And it's like, wait, what? Joe, are you talking about COVID or something? We're talking about immigration. He confused the mask mandate repeal with immigration. The man is not well. He is not able to articulate his thoughts. This MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history. All right, I'd just like to make one point. Joe Biden, in response to news that the Supreme Court voted to overturn Roe v. Wade, said that MAGA is the most extreme political organization in American history, and it is based upon overturning Roe v. Wade. All right, here you go, Joe. Biden changed position on Roe v. Wade. In 1982, when Biden was a senator from Delaware, he voted to end Roe v. Wade under former President Ronald Reagan. The administration was focused on ending abortion rights at the federal level. An amendment was proposed to the Senate Judiciary Committee to allow individual states to overturn Roe v. Wade. He said, I'm probably a victim or a product, however you want to phrase it, of my background, citing his Catholic upbringing. If anything's more extreme today, it's Joe Biden. It's a hypocrite.
No, look, the psychological thing, projection, right? We talk about this all the time. That's what's happening here. Obviously, you mentioned this, Tim, but MAGA, in a lot of ways is left of where the Republican Party is 20 years ago. I mean,
10 years ago.
10 years ago. You look at like trade and things like that. Those were issues where the Democrats were. But Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, we're talking about abortion till the moment of birth. We're talking about sex changes for kids. We're talking about censoring free speech. So I think when he says that Ultra MAGA, which is really cool, by the way, is the most dangerous political movement, I think the truth is that the Democrats are really threatening that now.
The reason Biden is able to get away with this, and the reason why a substantial number of people in the country will believe him, is because of the media. The media memory holes every single example of left-wing extremism and amplifies anything they can pin on Republicans. So we'll always remember the trespassers at the Capitol, but we won't remember the people who bombed the Capitol in the 1980s, the leftists linked to the Weather Underground, as you said, Tim. Actually, there might have been another different left-wing extremist group. Even I'm forgetting the details.
There's just so many.
Even I'm forgetting the details because the media just doesn't talk about these things ceaselessly.
Here's the issue. They come out and they're like, but there's so many far-right extremists. And I'm like, there are many far-right extremists, sure, but do they have any institutional power? Are the people who stormed into the Capitol on January 6th working at CNN or the New York Times? Are any of those people, are they being supported and defended by CNN and the New York Times? Oh, well, when Black Lives Matter and Antifa rioted across this country in 2020, causing billions of dollars in damage, and I think it resulted in between 26 and 32 dead. Mm-hmm. They were actively defended by the sitting vice president, and the media actively defended them. My favorite is fiery, but mostly peaceful.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So if I take issue with that, and then you're like, but what about the insurrectionists? And I'm like, oh, the people who are violent should go to prison. But those people don't have any support from the major cultural institutions. They don't work there. You actually have active Antifa people at the New York Times. Actively. Okay, you don't have that with the MAGA people, but they're like, but they're police officers. I'm like, dude, in what? Like Bumblehaven in Bufu? Podunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm really worried about the Podunk cop who drove a couple hundred miles and rioted. Arrest the guy, put him in jail, fine, I get it. But that is not an institution that is going to harm my life.
And look at the difference here between the two parties, right? The Republicans do everything they can to disavow the insurrectionists, disavow the far right, the alt-right people. The Democrats create GoFundMes for bailout funds for the mostly peaceful protesters in the summer of 2020.
I pulled up this the bombing you were talking about in the Capitol. 1980s, a far-left group called M19 bombed the Senate.
Huh.
It was women. I think it was a group of women. But it was like a male. Oh, it wasn't all women. It was looks like 4 women and 2 guys. They call it like a. Yeah, I'd never heard of I don't think I've ever heard of M19 until tonight. So thank you
Yeah,
for bringing that up.
I think a lot of people haven't heard about it because whoever controls the history books, whoever controls the news, doesn't want us remembering it. We have an alternative news media now, which is great. We probably need alternative history as well.